everybody. This is John Paval with another special edition of Access Arts live streaming. Today, for the past 8 days, 4 intrepid organists, organ scholars, and sound artists have been playing a continuous live performance of John Cage's ORGAN2, ASLSP, which means as slowly as possible. Diane Luchese, professor of music at Towson University, Alexander Meszler from Luther College, Christopher Anderson at Southern Methodist University, and Kimberly Marshall at Arizona State University, which is where this magnificent event has taken place. Each organist took a 6-hour shift on each of the 8 days. It has been amazing to do several live interviews with them as they had just come out of the space, or we're just going into it because they're in a different place when that happens. So let me bring them into the live stream now and let them tell you what the experiences has been like for them. Welcome.
Hey.
Oh.
Kimberly, Diane, Christopher, Alexander, congratulations on a magnificent event.
Thank you.
This is just, to me, it's like a world-shaking event that will have resonance the more people find out about it. You know, we're in the days when live streaming does not receive the kind of immediate attention that it deserves. But it will build, and you are here in the early days when we are building the foundation for it. But just bravo for giving 8 days of your lives, 48 hours of your lives to being in performance space. That, for me, it is so exciting to be in touch with that energy. So each of these live streams for me has been thrilling. So tell me how it's been. How do you feel now that it's accomplished, consummatum est?
I think we're all a bit exhilarated and yet very tranquil, very fulfilled. It's as much an experience for the performer as it is for the audience. Perhaps even
yes.
so.
Yes.
We're all exploring different sounds. We've all, I think, gained a new concept of time.
It sounded like in all of the live streams I've done with you, everybody kept saying, time is like, Diane held up a timepiece saying, this is the only way I keep track now.
It's really easy to lose yourself, especially in certain undulations coming from the instruments. And it's like you're just bathed in sound.
One of the things that I talked about with Diane and Alexander was how, when you know, as a performer myself, I know when you're doing a performance, you're busy doing the performance. You know, if you're an actor or a musician, you know, if you're playing Bach, you're playing Bach. You don't have time to listen, you know. But with this kind of an experience, you do. I mean, you have a larger engagement with the entire space and the entire event and sometimes you're in and working it, but other times. I saw that, and how was that for you as being different as performing artists?
You know, when you asked that question the other day,
yeah,
I thought about it. I couldn't think in real time, but no, but it's no, I forgot my. The thing is, yeah, when it's true, as I mentioned the other day, if I'm playing a Bach fugue or something, I'm very anxious. It's a whole different experience. But yeah, and playing this, yeah, I was enjoying every sound. But I was thinking that there's got to be a way to capture what I've learned from this the next time I play a fast piece.
Yes.
In other words, we got to really experience enjoying every sound and relishing in it and then playing the next note. And there's no reason why we can't try to capture it and just speed it up when we play a faster piece.
I don't think you can avoid it. I mean, from where I'm sitting, watching how and seeing how you were, you know, hours and hours functioning, and you're floating around in that ether. Imagine if you were you were what do you call it? A gynecological physician, a doctor, okay, and you went through a giving birth experience that lasted, instead of an hour or two, that lasted several days. It was just stretched that way. You would never go through the experience of birthing a child the same way, that it would just have so expanded in your mind, the level of detail. Or they talk about how certain athletes, when they're really playing well, the whole game slows down. Like when they're playing tennis, the ball isn't coming at them fast. Or when they're a baseball player at the bat, that fastball, it's crawling towards them. And you've sort of been in that space as musicians, willy-nilly for 48 hours each.
Psychologists call that peak experiences. It's something that happens in our best moments when we're in a recital. You know, when you really kind of go into this space that you don't remember. I think Cage, I don't know, I've often wondered about that in my own life, musically or otherwise, whether you put yourself in that space. And most of the time you really can't, but Cage seems to be able to do it, like seems to pull you into that space. Like every night I made it to that space at least once.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I kept a little diary of this every day, and you just sort of jot down things, and some of them are longer things and some of them turn out to be aphorisms. And one of the aphorisms I came up with was that, in normal music, we listen for relationships, right? In Cage, we just listen. There isn't anything, you just listen, right? You're not concerned about how to connect this thing to the next thing or how it works in counterpoint with another thing. You don't engage that faculty. You just listen, right?
Diane, I wanted to ask you, since I gather this was your brainchild. One day you're walking down the street and you say, "Well, how about 8 days?" And did you have any idea when you first of all, how did you come up with the idea of, well, let's do it for 8 days, 1 day per section, and then did you have any idea of what it was actually going to be like when that first came to you? Or
I definitely did not imagine this. I mean, I didn't imagine these beautiful instruments. I didn't imagine the hall, the lights, the sounds of these instruments, certainly not the Trieri. So that wasn't in the imagination. What was there at the beginning was this piece needs to be slower to really enjoy the sounds. I'm a big fan of the Halberstadt project. I am really big fan. I think it has so many wonderful goals. But having been there and listened, it's just a single, not even a full rank of pipes. And also, I know that audiences, they go, for the note change, but that's about it. And so I remember the day exactly. It was February 5th, 2024, when they changed the note in Halberstadt. And I saw all over the news that people came from all over the world to watch the note change. I thought, yeah, that is a big deal, but it's the sustains that are more interesting than the note change. And there needs to be a long performance for people to experience the whole thing, but at a slow tempo.
I have a question about the lights, because you mentioned the lights, and some of the people in the chat were wondering, were the lights programmed, or was it some kind of electronic program of the lights changing to certain sound, or how did the lights happen?
The lights happen via us pressing a button. It's very, very high. I will show your viewers.
Okay.
The very advanced technology. So when we would leave the screen, we might be going back to the Trieri organ, which I'll show you back there.
Yes.
And then we also could be going to the light panel.
And just choose a color.
Well, we don't have a full range, but if you can see this.
No, I see your hand rather than the bottom.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that.
You can move to the left. There, now I see one something. I think we may be having signal. I lost your signal. Come back. Hold on a second. I'll add you again. Lost your signal for a minute, but you're back now. It happened on my end. I don't know why.
I'm just demonstrating.
Sure. Oh,
Some
okay.
of
So
it's
there's
light.
green. Yeah. And did when you change these colors, were you doing it with intention, or was it just to have a change of colors? Because people were really trying to analyze the colors. If you put a chat box up, people are going to analyze everything they see.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's great. I'll speak for myself.
yes.
I did have some intentionality, but I didn't plan it a lot in advance. I kind of let
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
the circumstance. I never knew what I was going to find when I came for my 6-hour shift.
Yes.
And I didn't want to have a lot of change. I felt like that would detract from the slow as possible aesthetic. But let's ask my esteemed colleagues if they had more
Yeah.
intentionality in their use
Well,
of our lighting
or
settings.
or whether they picked it at the beginning or the end, or did
No,
you have input into the lighting?
I wish I could say that I did have intentionality about it, but I really didn't. I just, every now and then I thought, well, maybe, this section needs a different lighting to demarcate it,
Yeah, but that's
whatever.
intentionality.
Well,
That right there is intention.
there were two times I turned the lights out completely,
Yes.
where I was playing in a very dark way, in very low sounds. I wanted that to be
Yeah,
that
I
way.
did that as well.
Right.
I think both of us kind of thought that could be rather magical.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would be in front of the organ so you could
Yes.
see my silhouette.
Yes. I
And
saw
also
that this morning.
candle,
Yeah.
which was a very important aspect of the performance.
Screen
It was an 8-day candle, and miraculously, it held for
For
the
8
full
days.
8 days, so that Diane
Technology
was
exercised
able to blow it out very
Oh,
dramatically at the
yeah.
end. We were worried about the candle.
Yeah.
Someone said
Yeah.
we should have used, yeah, here's the candle.
Yeah.
You see, still a little left. A little.
That looks to me a little bit like the candles they have at Sacre-Cœur in Paris, where I spend a lot of time because they have a 15-minute, very non-religious sort of ceremony.
I was going to just say, John, one thing about the lights that the live stream
Yes.
doesn't catch is when you do turn the lights off,
Right.
it is not as dark in here as it is on the live stream, which was something that sort of, it was cool on the live stream, but in here you can really still see things. And so, because the light, dissipates, it's a different experience in the hall.
Okay. And here's another question that I have. It sort of came up earlier, and the first time we talked when Kimberly was talking about, look, if you're in the hall, if you just move your head to the side, the sound changes. Now, I know that some of you both had the experience of the sound in the hall, but you also had the experience of the sound off the live stream.
We all did.
Now, if you're listening with earphones on, well, then moving your head isn't going to make any kind of a change. I mean, but if you're in a room with that sound on off the live stream, would the sound change if you moved the position of your head or moved around in the room? Did you notice anything like that?
What's going on? I just wait. Hopefully he'll get us back.
You're on screen right now, so somebody's whispering, but just in case you were talking about that.
It should.
You might want to try leaving and then just come back.
I have you on screen right now, if this is what you're wondering about. I don't know if you know that. She's going to come back. All right. Having a little bit of technical difficulty there. And you got to bear in mind, these people are totally spaced out after 8 days. Here we have you back. I just made excuses for you. I told them you got to bear in mind these people are totally spaced out after 8 days. So accidents may happen. But was there a difference in the sound experience? For instance, Diane, I know you listen sometimes. So it is a different sound experience in person, a more complex, full experience. Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally different. But that's not to say that the live stream, I mean, it was, I still certainly caught a lot. I got a lot out of the live stream, but it's not like being in the room. And I know though, from my hotel room, if I went from one room into, let's say, the bathroom or the hall, the sound would change in that respect. And I even was walking quickly and I had a little Doppler effect, But here though, inside the hall, on one day, I just happened to have to yawn. I wasn't tired, but somebody just had to do a yawn.
Yeah.
And when I did a yawn, that was the most dramatic change in sound. And I tried yawning in the hotel room, but that didn't do anything.
So you checked it out. Well, that's fascinating.
One really amazing thing that happened to me in the hall, we have the spatial distance between the triary organ at the back of the hall and the Fritz organ at the front. And of course, both of the organs have cases that act as hard surfaces that reflect sound. And I was trying to use the triary a lot to create these blended tones that really blew my mind. What was possible. And Alex, I think, discovered that instead of just removing the weights from the triary keys, we could actually just unplug the motor.
I think you said something about that. Yeah. And it changed the impact.
So I thought I had done that, and I actually had done that. It was a great effect. And then I was convinced the triary organ was sounding. And I was up at the Fritz, and I really heard this strong sound from the triary. And I walked back there, and I still felt like it was coming out of the organ. But what it was the sound of the Fritz organ being reflected off the case. And I actually had to walk up to the triary case.
Yes.
And put my hands on it. It was such an incredible oral experience. And I was really misled by the reflection of the sound.
I never knew that cases served that kind of a function, so that's new to me. But what do I know? I'm not an organist.
Well, it's like a soundboard. The case is like a soundboard.
Yeah.
I had a student with me the wee hours of the morning, and we actually went up, and I had her put her hands on the Fritz case so she could feel that. It really does reverberate, and it kind of helps blend the sound.
What I noticed that you definitely had some sort of you were doing movements at different times. At different times you'd be sitting and meditating, but then you had these movements you were doing which looked vaguely like spiritual movements. And I kept thinking this is like the mysteries or like a cathedral.
Well, I'm a very somatic person, and I really feel the sound in my body, and I kind of let that just move me at times. And I also thought perhaps it might help listeners tune into some of the oscillations that I was experiencing, because I think they came through pretty well in the live stream. When I listened, you
could hear them. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And so I wanted to express that in a way. Also, you have to remember, John, that I was alone for 45 and a half of my 48 hours.
Yes.
Because my shift was midnight to 6 a.m.
So there's nobody there.
Now, I had so many European viewers. I was the prime time.
Yes.
Europe. But it's interesting. I think also I moved more because I just felt alone and kind of free and liberated, and wanted to maybe connect somehow too. It's a type of connection, not only with the sound, but maybe with the global audience tuning in.
Yes. Well, it did work that way, because I guarantee you there were people trying to figure out what the movements were.
There was nothing.
Well,
I mean,
I don't know that the viewers would agree with that. That there's ever nothing. No, that would be like saying, well, there was nothing. It was just the same note being played. But it can't be nothing if it's in a performance aspect. It is inescapably. It's sort of like there's a great theater piece by Peter Handke, which is all about how this is not a play. And during the whole thing, the players keep saying, no, there's no story, there's no characters, we're not playing anything. It's theater, though, because it can't not be.
Definitely.
It's inescapable. So, well, are there any other nuggets of wisdom or reactions that you want to record now? Because this is sort of like a finale that I will make sure you all get copies of this downloaded in a light enough form that it's transportable and usable in other contexts for all of you.
I just want to share one thing that we didn't bring up, and you sort of touched upon it with the performance aspect, but Diane just mentioned a few minutes ago, like it's a master class and so many different things. And the one that I didn't think about, and I feel a little bit guilty because this is my primary occupation, is as a performer. What a wild experience. We, all four of us, were incredibly nervous for the last 5 minutes of that performance. Walking up to shut the organ off was like I was an undergrad. Like, definitely. And then the other thing I would mention was that I had a student in here, and she described to me after that she thought I was kind of just somebody just kind of milling about, doing my thing. You know, she thought I had set up my cell phone, taking her, it was the clock, of course. And I was staring at the clock, and she, who is this guy? And then I touched the organ, she got really nervous. And so like the audience, all of that interaction is really a part of this, that performative stuff.
Yeah.
And Alex also brought up the point that it was really important to end it with applause and a bow, because it is a performance. It wasn't just something that people kind of walk in and out and everything. And there was a ritual to that. And we did plan it. And I thought it was very fitting that Diane blew out the 8-day candle at the end.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, the one thing I want to share, I think you might have used the word monastery or monastic. Yeah. I have to say, this hadn't gotten mentioned, but every day when I came in, when Chris was finishing up, I felt like I was entering the temple of sound. This place felt very sacred. It was like going into, some kind of an old cathedral or, sacred space. And it felt, you can just feel the, that vibe as soon as you walked in. So I called it in my mind, I'm going to the temple of sound, or the sound temple.
Yes. Well, I've been going in a totally opposite direction, just kidding around. I've been referring to you guys as the Gang of Four, the John Cage Gang of Four, which is definitely not a spiritual direction at all. But it's revolutionary. It's people who go to any lengths to complete a revolution. But and I think it's very common for people to talk about how, well, music has a spiritual component to it and all that, et cetera, et cetera. And, people like me will say, well, the composers don't create the music, they find it. They discover what has been created in the beauty of our creation, however you believe it came to be. I believe God created, but you can come to it any way. But the thing is, when you're busy going from note to note, it's like each blade of grass or each tree, and not getting the forest. And instead you were just like in the forest, and this tree, like in the Zen sense, the way that Cage talks about it, if something seems boring, well, look at it for an hour. It's the fullness of the spiritual aspect was not masked by the busyness of the music. Instead, it was like cutting open the watermelon, and the juice is just all over you.
I love that.
Yes.
Just amazing. I'm looking at the four of you, and you look like four people who've been through something amazing. It could have been, well, you climbed Everest or something like that in an artistic sense. And I know very often the work that organists do doesn't look like performance in the same way as like actors or musicians who are on a stage playing before people, because very often you're up, in a loft, or you're behind an organ, and it's not like you're thinking of people watching your every move. But this also breaks open the idea of, well, it is performance, and it just keeps going on and on and on, and you can't avoid it.
And you're part of it.
Yes, and it doesn't matter whether there's one person watching in the room or whether the people are watching remotely. The thing that I love about live streaming is people don't get that when you're watching a live stream, you're part of a social experience.
Right.
It's not the same as watching a recording. A recording is like reading a book by yourself on a Tuesday afternoon. Any live stream is a social experience, at least between you and the artist, and then with the other people in the audience, either in person or remotely. So, that performance aspect, this was saturated with that too, broken open so that you couldn't avoid it by being busy doing it. I mean, just bravo to you. Wow. I just think the impact on you is it's going to stretch out.
Reverberate.
Yes.
Through the ages.
Resonate.
As long as possible.
As long as possible.
Yeah.
As long as possible.
As we would say in LA, part of the human growth process, and then you just grow, expand it as a result.
Thank you so much, John. This has been a thrilling way to end, and we're going to now go debrief over some nice Italian cuisine.
Sounds terrific. Congratulations again, and thank you for sharing it, some of it with me and with the online audience. And one last question: is the recording going to be up or no?
It's not possible to have 192 hours preserved.
Good.
But we do have our own School of Music video of the last 48 hours, and we're going to try to make a montage of that.
Sure.
And what we can.
Okay.
We do have to make sure that the copyright holders of the piece authorize anything moving forward, because there are licensing issues, but we'll do our best.
Well, and these videos will remain up on on the 7 platforms where Access Arts live streams. And as I said, I will make sure I get to you light enough versions that they can be downloaded. I will probably use WeTransfer to get that to you.
Oh yeah, that's great.
That's perfect.
Okay. Great. If each of you wants to forward an address to me, but again, let's end this with my just saying congratulations. You have been magnificent. You have been magnificent for 8 days. Wow.
May everyone savor every moment.
Thank you, and to all your audience.
Bye-bye. Wow. Incredible people who have completed an incredible experience that where no one has gone before. I don't have much more to add to that, and I hope you have enjoyed. Those of you who were led to enjoy the live stream by Access Arts Live, I hope you enjoyed the experience. If not, I would encourage you, if you love scintillating and amazing live performances like this and others, follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live, especially on Facebook and YouTube, but we're also on X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. We want to be wherever you are, so all you have to do is wander over from your usual place where you surf the net and wander over to Access Arts Live and find out what's live streaming every day of the week. We promise we'll provide you more than 1,000 live links to live performances of orchestras, opera, ballet, organ recitals, piano concerts, music festivals of all kinds in the year. Ciao for now.